by myself. You saw the freestyle dopeness. Without me the scene's lost like the Catholic Church when it's hopeless. Yeah, it's hopeless. So DJ 뭐가 고민이 돼. I'm the only way. 선택은 tableau. 내 CD 돌릴 때 내 입은 왕귀는 A4 내 총이 돼.
Gazed into the realm of death. What did you see?
I had a dream. It was the first time, that I was really scared, shook with fear. If one thing, one atom had given way, then I would be gone.
To the heavens. You can stay here alone and watch what happens to this purgatory.
Oh my lord, what have I gotten myself into? Seems like I woke up in yesterday again. Another day, another dream. Doesn't matter anyway.
Hello, everyone. So we have a lot to talk about today. CDC voting to put the cocoa jab on the childhood immunization schedule. So that's going to be now likely recommended to all children in America, essentially. So that's pretty big news. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the new Alex Jones information about the trial regarding the Sandy Hook victims' family members. They're now requesting $2.75 trillion with a T dollars from Alex Jones. Okay, yeah, we're going to talk about, that's not a Babylon Bee article, that's actually real. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about some increased UFO sightings, or UAP is the new term, right? Because UFO has too much connotation, too much baggage with that term. But that seems to be ramping up. Joe Rogan also had Ryan Graves on talking about that. Big Psyop coming, guys. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about Jordan Gray, who I don't know who that is, but apparently they got butt naked on Channel 4 News live on air. Not news, but Channel 4 in the UK live on air. This is a trans person. It was, I'm not going to show the video. Well, we'll get into it. I'm not going to show the video, but we're going to talk about it, and I saw the video, and it is disgusting. We're also going to talk about the Ukraine situation with Congress trying to approve another $50 billion of your tax dollars to go to Zelensky and his, Nazi Azov battalion members. And we're just going to look at all the debauchery going on. So much debauchery, so much madness. Yeah, so hello everyone in the chat. I just want to thank first and foremost Faith Farah and Miss Maskless, always in the chat, organizing everything, and just you girls are just amazing. Really, I see you in there every single live stream, dropping links, making sure there isn't any craziness going on in the chat. It's usually a pretty tame chat, but y'all are amazing. Everybody in the chat really is amazing, but those two really go above and beyond. So thank you so much. And yeah, as always, right? Super chats if you can, right? Super chats are great. It's really hard to see like all the chat going on and keep track. But if there is a super chat in there, I will read it. I'll read your question or your comment, and it helps fund the channel here as well. Also got Patreon and PayPal in the description box below if you want to contribute. But most importantly, give this video a good thumbs up. Give this stream a good thumbs up. Share it far and wide if you can. And drop a comment in there if you're watching after, too. These things help get the word out. And also, if you haven't yet, subscribe on BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble, in case this channel on YouTube gets struck down, right? Just deleted. They're canceling everyone nowadays. So let's talk about the CDC madness first. Yeah. So CDC panel votes to add the cocoa jab to the recommended childhood schedule. So again, this is one of those topics I have to be careful about how I talk about this. I I'm not sure exactly what YouTube's policies are anymore. They fluctuate every other day. So we're going to sort of approach this in a way where, you know, yeah. If you're new to the channel, well, welcome. But you know, sometimes we're careful about how we talk about things here. But I think you'll get the gist. A CDC panel unanimously voted on Wednesday to add the cocoa jab to the recommended childhood schedule. The decision from the agency's advisory committee would add the cocoa jab to the public health agency's Vaccines for Children program. 15 voting members of mostly scientific or medical expert backgrounds make up the panel and are responsible for making vaccine recommendations. All of the panelists are chosen by the Secretary of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services after an application and nomination process. So, you know, I don't have kids, but from what I understand, when you have kids and you start bringing them to a doctor at a young age, they, in fact, almost right away, they're highly recommended by the doctors to get a schedule of vaccinations. And if you give any pushback or ask any questions, many of these doctors will berate you. One of my best friends, who's I think listening right now, who I actually interviewed, you guys saw, Gordy. I remember him and his wife telling me about how they were berated by the doctors when, they brought their kids to get, checkups or whatever. If they didn't want to, jab the kids, the doctors would berate them. And this is going to be as well now for the cocoa jab. So along with the long list of childhood immunizations, the cocoa jab will be added to it. Remember, this was a jab that was rushed out in like 1/10 of the time and testing process and all of that in comparison to all other jabs for other things. This is a very controversial jab, right? You'll even talk to the average person, the normie out there, who doesn't do any research, but they know that the cocoa jab is a little bit more iffy to them than the other ones they're used to. The good old tetanus shot, right? The good old, right? And I'm not saying like I'm not a doctor, so I don't know if those are good or bad or what, but I'm just saying that the average normie, their perspective, even on the cocoa jab at this point, is slightly more, not very much, because a lot of them got it, right? A lot of them got it. A lot of them are still giving it to their kids, whatever. But still, it's just known at this point, I think, that it's just a little more rushed, a little more risky maybe. I don't know. Than the other things that have been around for a long time that are like multiple tested like a trillion times the past 50 years. That's what the people say. I'm not saying that. That's just what the people tell me, right? I don't have an opinion on this. YouTube, I don't have an opinion on this. I'm not a doctor. So, the ACIP's Wednesday recommendation now goes to the CDC director, Rochelle Walensky. Oh, isn't she the one that said that, you're not going to get sick if you get these, right? If you get these cocoa jabs. Isn't she the one that said that? Her, Fauci, Biden. I put out a video just the other day, a compilation of these types of people. Walensky, Fauci, Birx, Biden, you name it. And then all these other media pundits. What's his name there? I already forget his name. The radio host that's he's washed up. I already forget his name. But, berating people for not getting it and saying that they're going to spread it to everybody for not getting it, and the people who do get the jab are just never going to get the cocoa, right? And, of course, that has been proven to be a total nonsense narrative. And we've been saying that from the beginning, but we were called conspiracy theorists all throughout 2021. Remember? Never forget what they did to us. Never forget what they said about us, even though we were right. We were proven to be right. Yes. Anyways, the CDC immunization schedule is a guideline for states to adopt if they choose. It is not mandated nationally, according to the CDC. Some states may opt to make the cocoa jab a condition of attending public schools. So, states do have the option to adopt this or not. So this won't be nationwide per se. I am willing to bet that more than half the U.S. states, probably at least like 2/3, if not more, will adopt this in their immunization schedules. So, I know DeSantis is saying he will not, right? Of course, the typicals that you would think. With his Florida Surgeon General, Joseph Litecoin, who tweeted, regardless of what the CDC votes on, whether the cocoa jabs are added to routine childhood immunizations, nothing changes in Florida. So, he's always been on the front lines of saying no to that. Now, I'm not saying that causation or correlation does not equal causation, but there's a lot of talk, especially over in Europe, where they seem to keep very, very comprehensive details and data about deaths and immunizations and stuff like that. And diseases, there is an uptick in heart disease in children. This is out of the Irish Light. Heart disease in children explodes since the jab. Now, that doesn't mean they're correlated. Of course, this is YouTube. We're not allowed to say that, and it doesn't mean they're causal. Of course, maybe they are correlated, right? But you have things like excess mortality in childhood death. Excess mortality for 0 to 14-year-olds, increasing like 1,000% over the course of 2022. This is when the you-know-whats were approved, and this is in Europe. So this is data from, I believe, 14 nations here. Or 28 nations, sorry. Austria, Belgium, Cyprus, Denmark. I'm not going to name every single one, but, France, Germany, the UK, etc. There's 28 nations in Europe. And if you look at 0 to 14-year-olds excess mortality rates, this light blue line right here, represents 2022, whereas the other two lines, the gray and the dark blue, represent 2020 and 2021. Now, right, of course, it doesn't mean that this is causal, right? But there seems to be a correlation that right when these, these jabs were rolled out in Europe, in these participating nations, these 28 nations, this data point just skyrocketed in childhood immunizations and deaths. So, it seems to be interesting, let's just say, and that's specifically for 0 to 14-year-olds. I mean, that's pretty big jump. I mean, 1,000%. You're talking a lot. And this is official data from Euromomo.eu. This is not some sort of conspiracy website. It's just a statistic that a lot of people are looking at. 0 to 14-year-olds. This is your kids, guys. It's very, very creepy. Very creepy. So you got all that, and then you have the typicals that are proven wrong again and again. And you know what we usually say, guys like me on my YouTube channel, that I was talking about this in 2021, at the very beginning when these roll up your sleevers were rolled out. I was saying, hey, you know, maybe we shouldn't believe everything that the authorities are telling us about the narrative here with these things, right? I said that they wouldn't prevent transmission. I was called a conspiracy theorist. And I turned out to be 100% right. 100% right. 100%. And the mainstream media and the so-called experts that were telling you that it would outright, and there's multiple videos of this, prevent transmission, they were wrong. Here's Ben Shapiro, December 2020. Of course, this is him sharing a tweet and responding to a tweet from Elijah Schaffer, who's pretty base and cool. I like Elijah Schaffer, who said, your immune system has a higher success rate at combating COVID than the actual vaccine. 99% versus 95%. Think about it, right? And Ben Shapiro sharing this. This is December 2020. The vaccine is 95% effective in preventing you from getting the virus and also mitigates the severity of the disease. 99% of those who actually get COVID-19 will survive. Oh, really? Right. Oh, really? So the vaccine is 95% effective at preventing you from getting the virus. Is that a fact at this point? Are we still sure that's true, Ben Shapiro? Mr. Smarty Pants? The smartest man in the world? Everyone always pats him on the back like he is the smartest man of the 21st century. Oh, he can really hand it to the blue-haired, fat, feminist, right? I'm not allowed. You gotta be careful. The blue-haired fat feminist who is screaming about the patriarchy. He really handed it to that 19-year-old and just totally, destroyed intellectually. It's like big deal, right? He talks fast and he is, he's not that smart, guys. He has a high IQ, but he's just, low common sense and bought off, guys. He's a shill. Come on. Let's be honest. So how's everyone in the chat doing? Let's see here. Theta Investor, thank you so much, man. $10. Find yourself an unvaccinated girl that knows the earth is flat. I'll keep you in my prayers, brother. Yeah, man. Oh, that's funny. Good super chat. Yeah, I'll go buy her some Chipotle with that $10, man. Thank you. Yeah, we're working on it, I'm still single, but if that was a criteria that had to be checked off by potential prospects for a pressy wifey, man, I'd be in trouble. The pool would be like very narrow if that were the case. Can we be honest? It's tough to find the flat Earth girls, right? I don't think I even know one. I don't think we've ever met a flat Earth girl. That's not a criteria. But thank you. Yeah, facts don't care about your feelings, right? Yeah, Ben Shapiro, right? Facts don't care about your feelings. That's the one thing about Shapiro. And look, I know there's some people listening that are big fans of Shapiro. That's okay. Like, I get it. Every now and then he'll come out with a good punchline or something. Okay, I'm not gonna say there's no credit due to Ben Shapiro ever. I just don't trust the guy. I don't like a lot of his opinions. I don't agree with him in a lot of ways, right? I think he spews a lot of nonsense. Like, for instance, the facts don't care about your feelings thing is total nonsense. And that is actually the number one thing that holds back many people on the right, actually. Because the truth is, human nature goes on to say that actually feelings don't care about your facts. And until the right and just the dissident community accepts that and starts using that fact, they won't ever get anywhere. Feelings actually don't care about your facts. And that if you want to win over the normies, you have to apply that principle, because that's just the truth. Human nature, especially in the 21st century, feelings don't care about your facts. And until people, if you want to keep losing, you can keep saying facts don't care about your feelings, because the truth is people don't care about facts. People are motivated by emotion and feelings and inspiration. And that's just the truth. You can try to be blinded to that truth. You can try to deny that. You can be like Ben Shapiro and scream until you're blue in the face that facts don't care about your feelings. But when push comes to shove, the masses don't care about that. They won't listen to that. They're not motivated by that. Right? It's almost like one good way to think about this is, if you're the commander of an army, are you going to inundate your soldiers with the facts of every little detail of every little thing that is going on in the war and their chances of dying and the culture of the other enemy and the benefits and cons of the culture of the enemy and the economic ramifications of the war and all? No. You're going to motivate them in a way that stimulates their feelings and their emotions, right? Because if you just give them the facts, like, oh, this is what we'll get out of the war, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's not going to motivate them. Like, it's weird that his small hat never falls off. You guys. Poor Ben. Yeah, that's the good thing about a flat earth girl. You can guarantee she'll be unvaxxed. That is pretty much guaranteed. If you can find one, that's probably going to be the case, right? That's not a criteria for me. The girl, honestly, guys, if you're listening out there, let me tell you, don't focus on a girl's politics, because you can find even a somewhat liberal type girl or normie type girl, whatever. And as long as she's a feminine girl, she'll just change her mind based on what you think, right? If she learns to love you and respect you. So I don't really focus too much on what the girl the prospects political views are, shape of the earth or anything like that. I do kind of at least focus on spiritual. I do prefer like a Christian girl, or at least a girl that believes in God at the very least. But even then, women will mold to the man she respects. Typically if she's a real woman, right? But it's always a bonus, if a girl, agrees with me on most things. It's kind of just a little bonus, but it doesn't really matter. In fact, kind of, I'm looking for like, mother to my children type thing. I'm not looking for, I have friends. I have you guys, right? I have you guys to bounce ideas off of and go over like what's going on in the world and get stuff off my chest. I don't need, I don't need a waifu, as they say, to bounce this stuff off of and, to rant to. I already got you guys, right? So that's just me. Everyone's different. So you guys want to see modern medicine today? Let's look at this. This is a group of medical students swearing an oath to honor all indigenous ways of healing that have been historically marginalized by Western medicine, and to fight white supremacy and colonialism and the gender binary. These are a group of medical students. These are the future doctors that are going to be immunizing your children and trying to coax you into doing what they want you to do. Now let's see what they're doing here.
With gratitude, we, the students of the University of Minnesota Twin Cities Medical School class of 2026, stand here today among our friends, families, peers, mentors, and communities who have supported us in reaching this milestone. Our institution is located on Dakota land. Today, many Indigenous people throughout the state, including Dakota and Ojibwe, call the Twin Cities home. We also recognize this acknowledgement is not enough. We commit to uprooting the legacy and perpetuation of structural violence deeply embedded within the healthcare system. We recognize inequities built by past and present traumas rooted in white supremacy, colonialism, the gender binary, ableism, and all forms of oppression.
What's this have to do with anybody's health? Just ableism. I guess that actually does kind of have to do with people's health. But white supremacy, all of this, it's a cult. It's a cult, guys. It's a cult.
As we enter this profession with opportunity for growth, we commit to promoting a culture of anti-racism, listening and amplifying voices for positive change. We pledge to honor all Indigenous ways of healing that have been historically marginalized by Western medicine. Knowing that health is intimately connected to our environment, we commit to healing our planet and communities. We vow to embrace our role as community members and strive to embody cultural humility.
Listen, they're all reading it out loud. This is literally like something out of a Jonestown cult meeting or something. It's like a mind control exercise. These are medical students. These are future doctors, guys. They're reading this garbage, this woke nonsense. Like, I could see if this were a women's studies graduate class or something, or even like I don't know. If you're going for your bachelor's in the Black History Month or something, whatever, I don't know. Colonial oppression degree, lesbian poetry, African, whatever. like you're getting your master's in Filipina trans drama acting or something. Okay, I get it, but you're a medical student. You're going to learn about how to treat trauma patients or something, and you're forced to read this out loud in a group about how we need to fight white supremacy and embrace indigenous forms of healing. What does that even mean? What, like doing the rain dance to make it rain? I make it rain. Literally, they're chanting in a group like a cult. These are doctors, right? To honor indigenous forms of healing, like it's non-specific what that actually means as well. You know, we're not talking about like herbs to help treat something, because that actually can help. No. Indigenous forms of like shamanism and healing, like doing the rain dance, really? Is this really what they're talking about? I mean, who knows? Because it's so vague. And then white supremacy, I mean, come on. It's just such a buzzword. It's such a stupid term. It's just, yeah.
We promise to continue restoring trust in the medical system and fulfilling our responsibilities as educators and advocates. We commit to collaborating with social, political, and additional systems to advance health equity. We will learn from the scientific innovations made before us and pledge to advance and share this knowledge with peers and neighbors. We recognize the importance of being in community with and advocating for those we serve.
Yeah, this is just the cathedral up to what they're usually up to, you know, indoctrinating their future professionals in these various fields that are actually highly esteemed in our society, you know, according to the typical normie, right? Doctors. So they're, in many ways, the new priest class. To a huge degree, they want to tell you not only how to take care of yourself physically, but also mentally too. You know, they're incorporating this woke ideology into their practices. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they're already, and especially in the future, asking their future patients or current patients about how white supremacy has affected their health, how the patriarchy is affecting, you know, children's health, climate change. They're already talking about how climate change is, you know, the number one cause of the rise in childhood myocarditis and stuff. Like, oh man, it's so dark. Like, it's climate change causing that myocarditis, guys. It's climate change causing sudden adult death syndrome. Yes, the soccer players are dropping dead every day on the field, and seizures and, you know, heart attacks. Perfectly healthy 20-year-olds. It's because of climate change. It's because of the patriarchy, white supremacy, transphobia. So, yeah, be careful. Be careful. You know, these things are very, very difficult to deal with, and, you know, thank goodness our doctors are taking oaths to figure that out, right? To try to solve these problems. All right, so let me see here. Let's go check the chat really quick. See how y'all doing. Make sure you're not causing too much trouble in there. All right, you guys are causing a little trouble. It's okay. It's okay. So, let's talk about Ye the J Slayer. Am I allowed to say that? I don't know. But, yeah, Ye is the next on the list to be canceled big time. And I already talked about how JP Morgan Chase deleted his business banking account. It kicked him off. He has till November, I think 20th or whatever it is, to get all his money out of the bank. How's he going to run his business and pay his employees and, you know, set up direct deposits and auto pays and all this? Nobody knows, right? I don't know if he's going to go to another bank or what, but he's in a lot of trouble. And of course, this is all because, you know, he's come out in criticism of the power structure in Hollywood and the fashion industry and the banking industry and stuff like that, alluding to the J word situation, right? That we all know what that is. And so, Now, you can't even have some of Kanye's interviews because he's still doing interviews. He's still putting out like videos and stuff like that, talking about this type of topic. And that you're not allowed to talk about that, right? You're just not allowed. So, Google Drive is even deleting these videos. So if you download them, because they're being insta-banned off all the platforms, right? He's being deplatformed. I mean, if the bank's deplatforming you, you know the social media companies are. So if you download some of these interviews or whatever they are, videos, him talking about this stuff, and you just want to keep it in the cloud instead of your hard drive or whatever, which is kind of a dumb idea to begin with, but a lot of people do that. Google Drive is deleting that. So you can see here, your file violates Google Drive's terms of services. So this is very akin. I wouldn't be surprised but this is very akin to them deleting your emails. Like if you were to send this in Google Mail, I'm not saying that they will delete it in that way, but I wouldn't be surprised if they start doing it. Censoring your actual emails through Google emails. But you just got to be careful. If you have a Google Drive or a Google Gmail account, I'm not saying don't use it. I'm just saying, it's operated by the beast system, obviously. So there's other, obviously, avenues to save videos, to send emails. So, just keep this in mind. But I think you're going to see a major cancellation campaign. Obviously, you already have against Ye for saying the things he's saying. I gotta be careful. All right, so Ye is also getting sued by the family of George Floyd, because he said George Floyd died of fentanyl overdose and not actually from what Derek Chauvin did to him, right? Now, if you didn't know, the coroner report 100% did conclude this is not a conspiracy theory. This is actually confirmed. This is mainstream news that George Floyd was on, I believe, like crack and heroin or crack and fentanyl when he died. So it was listed as, at the very least, a contributing factor to his death. And I think the coroner actually said that, the Chauvin's knee on Floyd's neck was what sort of tipped him over into dying. But it's debatable whether or not he would have died either way, because what he did before Derek Chauvin confronted him is he basically took all the drugs he had, fentanyl and crack, and he like ingested it, because people will do that if they're being caught by the police, right? They'll take all the drugs they're having and ingest it, so when they're searched, they're not found to have drugs. And that's what he most likely did. And, Ye can share his opinion about something like that. He shouldn't be censored or sued for saying that he thinks it was the drugs that killed George Floyd. This is a worldwide news story that caused the Summer of Love in 2020, where the entire country burned to the ground. So this idea that you can't give your opinion on it, that contradicts the mainstream narrative, the woke narrative, is insane. And so he's being sued now for $250 million. The family of George Floyd is basically taking him to court. Again, this is the same thing that's happening to Alex Jones that already happened to Alex Jones. This is going to be a new modus operandi to attack free speech. And here's the thing. I was in a little Facebook debate with somebody, a leftist, about free speech, about how basically white nationalists, free speech, right? So his contention was that, white nationalists shouldn't be allowed to have free speech. And I said, well, absolutely they should. And so should black nationalists, and so should even Jewish supremacists, whoever, if you're whatever, a Hispanic supremacist, I don't care. Like, free speech is free speech. It doesn't matter what people are. The whole point of free speech is to actually support the free speech that you disagree with, right? That you find repulsive, that you find destructive, right? It's not free speech if the rule is like all speech I disagree with isn't allowed. That's not free speech. Like, it's a paradox, right? That, to call that free speech is just such a misnomer. It's crazy. So I even said to this person in the Facebook comment, I said, I believe in free speech. You believe in free speech for everybody except white nationalists. Right? And then even that triggered him. Because they can't really like articulate their position. It's like, well, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that historically, this always leads to bad stuff, so we can't allow it. It's like, yeah, but ultimately, we are not the same. I believe in free speech for everyone. You believe in free speech for everybody except white nationalists. That's so. Yeah. These court cases are a new systematic approach to destroy free speech in America. We live in a country that has been captured by a globalist type of breakaway civilization that does not want you to have free speech, that does not want you to have the right to bear arms, that does not want you to have private property. You will own nothing and be happy. That is what the World Economic Forum said. That extends into free speech, that extends into your right to bear arms, and that extends into your right to teach your children and raise your family the way you want that to happen. So it extends to every area of your life. And right now, the main attack point on free speech is not only social media, but suing anybody who goes against the narrative that has a high profile. Right now, it's Kanye and Alex Jones. They're getting Yee-too'd, right? They're getting Yee-too'd. Yay-too'd, right? That's what's happening. Now, the latest, this I just got to talk about, right? With Alex Jones. The Sandy Hook families are now seeking $2.75 trillion with a T. It's just out of Bloomberg, right? 2.7. It's just like, why not quadrillion? Why not just sue Alex Jones for the stars in the sky, right? Why not make him hand over the planet Jupiter to the Sandy Hook families? And why not force him to produce a black hole to suck all the misery away from the Sandy Hook families? 2.7 trillion. I mean, this is like cartoon level, It's like something out of the Babylon Bee. I honestly didn't believe this article. I when I first saw this headline, I thought it was satire. I thought it was just something funny, a meme. No, it's real. Sandy Hook family said a Connecticut judge should impose the highest possible punitive damages for Alex Jones, suggesting by one calculation that it could be as high as $2.75 trillion with a T dollars. The family said that additional damages were warranted on top of a nearly $1 billion jury award because Jones broke a state law barring the sale of barring the sale of products using false statements. They reached the $1 trillion sum by multiplying the state's laws up to $5,000 per violation fine by the 550 million social media exposures Jones' audience received on his Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter accounts in the 3 years following a school shooting that claimed the lives of 20 first graders and 6 educators in 2012. Yeah, so this is for real. Yeah, they're really claiming. Man, you can't make this stuff up, guys. You know, there are some, too, that say, you know, this is all set up, right? You know, these guys, Alex, Ye. I mean, Ye is a billionaire. Alex is definitely a millionaire. I don't think he's a billionaire. But, you know, there's some that say they're shills. This is all set up sort of like a bowling pin set up to knock over so that... you know, so they can roll out these situations and make an example of them. And either way, I mean, it doesn't really matter in the end because, you know, the point is to try to make an example of guys like Alex Jones and Kanye West to scare anybody from speaking their mind and contradicting the official narrative. The looming threat of being sued by the establishment in some way, shape, or form for expressing yourself in a way that they don't like. The mere threat can influence people, right? And that's what they're hoping. Nobody really cares if about the money. I don't think anybody cares about the money, whether or not Jones or Ye wins. It's like, and this stuff will get taken to the Supreme Court. Hopefully it'll get knocked down because it's kind of like, it's about setting precedent. If this is allowed, then there'll be precedent set that every time there's a story in the media and somebody says something that offends a person, they can sue them or something. It's very, very bad. And then, you know, this is more of the making an example of high-profile right-wing figures. Steve Bannon sentenced to 4 months in prison. So this just happened. He's going to jail. Former Trump White House chief strategist Steve Bannon was sentenced to 4 months in prison on Friday after failing to comply with a subpoena from the Congressional January 6th committee. Now, of course, the whole point of subpoenas and all of this with the January 6th committee is to try to get these people up in front of Congress to perjure themselves. And if they don't go along with it, well, then they still just end up going to prison. And it's to scare Trump supporters. It's to scare anybody that's at least somewhat anti-establishment in their views and rhetoric. Whether or not you like or trust Trump, you know, his supporters, the way they view the world is very similar to the people watching this show, right? Very similar to what the establishment hates, right? And, you know, sending Bannon to jail for 4 months, somebody who's highly esteemed in Trump's circles, or at least formerly was, in that whole movement, the MAGA movement. Oh man, yeah, it's sending a message. That's what it's meant to do. These are show trials. Do you understand? Show trials. This is very popular in the Soviet Union throughout the 20th century. This is what they did over and over again. You know, they would have these show trials of enemies of the Communist Party, enemies of the Soviets, within the country to make an example of these people so that others would not have the courage to speak up and to act in opposition. Yeah, so that's going on. Then you have Trump officially being subpoenaed by the January 6th committee. Yeah. On Friday, the January 6th committee officially subpoenaed former President Donald Trump for his involvement in the Capitol riot. This is all just for show, guys. And to try to get people to perjure themselves. And it's like... And especially in time for the elections, it's to have this in the news cycle so the average person sort of reading or perusing the news in the morning sees Trump criminal or Bannon criminal or right-wing criminal, whatever, to get it in their minds that if you're against Leviathan, if you speak out in opposition to the globalist agenda, I guess, right? Socially, economically, culturally, politically, whatever. Well, you're going along with like a criminal conspiracy, right? You're one of the bad guys. You're part of the bad party that we're going to purge, that we're going to subpoena, send to jail, all this, right? So you as the little guy, if you side with them ideologically, you're the bad guy, right? The former president must produce documents requested by the committee by November 4th, right before the election, and appear for testimony later in the month, according to the subpoena. As demonstrated in our hearings, we have assembled overwhelming evidence, including from dozens of your former appointees and staff, that you've personally orchestrated and oversaw a multi-part effort to overturn the 2020 presidential election and to obstruct the peaceful transition of power. You're right. Yeah. The committee's 7 Democrats and 2 Republican members unanimously voted to subpoena the former president in their final public hearing on October 13th. Yeah, so there you go, right? Let's open the chat. Oh, guys, we haven't even got to the juicy stuff yet. We're about to talk about UFOs, okay? Long story short, we're about to talk about UFOs. So... Yeah, Jones purposely avoided looking into Sandy Hook in any depth. Yeah, I don't remember Jones even being, like, I remember, like, the whole thing. Like, I was, guys, I've been awake, eyes open, as Dabu used to say, eyes open since 2008. And let me tell you, Jones wasn't really highly involved in uncovering some of the theories involved with Sandy Hook, and that's the most crazy thing about it, right? That's how you know it's like it's just they're trying to make an example, I think. I mean, obviously, we've talked about it already. I've already done shows about this. Yeah, nicer, simpler times, IML, man. I know about you. I know your channel. I know your channel. I've seen you around in the comments a long time. Long time. Ebola. Ebola, man. It's funny you guys are mentioning the Ebola thing. That is like such an obscure time. What was it, like 2014, 2015? Ah, man, the good old days, right? That was back when the YouTube was like Wild West. That was a lot of fun. I might actually have an old friend on that you guys might recognize, Robert J. Morris. in the next few weeks to talk a little more about the UFO thing. There's a lot to uncover there. I'm talking to John LeBon a little bit too. I don't know. Maybe I'll have him on eventually too. But anyway, Biden admin may freeze Musk's Twitter acquisition, citing national security. So it's been kind of confirmed that Elon Musk, who, you know Elon, he wants to put a chip in your brain. He wants to merge with AI in order to not be overtaken by it externally. Yeah, probably not somebody who's trustworthy, but anyway, he's buying Twitter. It's now pretty much official. He has to buy Twitter. So as Twitter and billionaire Elon Musk race to close their acquisition deal by October 28th, officials within the Biden administration are now considering freezing the deal, citing potential national security risk. Well, here's the question. Why would there be any national security risks with Elon buying Twitter? The obvious conclusion here would be that Twitter is run by the government, right? It's supposed to be a private company. And here's the thing. If the government is intervening in Twitter and their process of censorship, their process of algorithm creation, that is a blatant violation of free speech, class action lawsuits out the wazoo. So why is it a national security threat if Elon buys Twitter? Why would the government have anything to do with Twitter in relation to national security? It's supposed to be it's a private company that can ban whoever they want. Oh, right? Oh, free speech. You always hear the left, man. That's all they talk about. These they hate privatization unless it's for banning your free speech, right? Privatization is good in the form of social media because they're allowed to censor whoever they want, and there's no free speech rule. This is why the best way to wake people up is to just talk to them in person. And to plant seeds, you have to do it a certain way. You can't push. But if I've been doing this for a while, and really the best thing to do is to just ask people questions. If they're, extremely, let's say they're a Biden supporter or something, or they were pro-vax passport at some point. Just ask them questions. Oh, you believe in vaccine mandates? Okay. How do you feel about abortion? It's a bit confrontational. Maybe don't ask them that, but maybe ask them that in a nice way. Oh, you're for vaccine mandates, so how do you feel about abortion? Do you think people have the right to say what happens to their body? Make their cognitive dissonance come out a little bit, or just be like, oh, you're for critical race theory. Okay. Yeah, well, how do you feel about the gender theory thing? Yeah, there's a story about the transgender story hour, half naked with the transgender's testicles hanging out. Do you support that? Oh, you're for gender affirming care for children. Oh, so that involves hysterectomies, right? And weenie chops. You realize that, right? That's what gender affirming care is, right? Puberty blockers or sterilization drugs, right? You know that? No? Okay. Anyways, me and my rants. Federal officials have grown uncomfortable over Musk's recent threat to stop supplying the Starlink satellite service to Ukraine. and what they consider to be an increasingly Russia-friendly posture following the recent tweets outlining a pathway to peace in Ukraine, according to a report from Bloomberg. Additional concerns about the purchase are tied to several foreign investors helping to finance Musk's Twitter takeover bid. Saudi Prince Alwaleed bin Talal and Qatar's sovereign wealth fund, and the crypto exchange Binance, which is owned by Chinese-born billionaire Changpeng Zhao. Members of the U.S. intelligence community are considering what tools federal officials may be able to use to review Musk's deals for national security risks. So they give these sort of excuses, right? Relating it to Ukraine, relating it to some foreign investors to help finance Musk's takeover bid. But that is all, I think, sort of show, but not really. I mean, at the same time, either way, like, why? It's already a private company, and the Saudi prince, I'm sure, already owns part of Twitter. So why does it matter that, one of the foreign investors is the Saudi prince or Binance? It's because the government has a huge stake in Twitter, guys. That's my theory. And, I don't know about Elon. Well, I don't trust Elon at all. But, Elon buying Twitter, there might be other elitists that don't, these elite types, these globalists that want to steer us into a certain direction, an antichrist type direction, they don't all agree with each other. You guys know that, right? It's not quite the tightly knit conspiracy that many people might think it is. It's more of like a breakaway civilization, and they fight amongst one another. These people aren't cooperative, right? They're not like, and there's just so many of them. They all just they believe in controlling the people, and they're sort of satanic in their own way. But Elon is some actually say he's the Antichrist, as a matter of fact. I don't know if I believe that fully, but I do not trust him. I can say that. I don't trust certain aspects of his ideology and vision of the future. That's the bottom line. But, many of his comments on free speech and stuff like that, I don't know. I agree with that, but it seems that there are some people in the U.S. government that want to intervene in this Twitter purchase, and I think we're going to see a lot of scandals come out of this. I do. I think once Elon takes control of Twitter, I think there's going to be a war in the upper echelons of power between Elon and some of these like U.S. national security types. Because they do have their hands in Twitter, and they are censoring your free speech directly. And I think if that ever comes out, and it will, I think, the government will be in a lot of trouble, and a lot of people will be able to sue them. Because that is a violation. It's just the blatant violation of the First Amendment. So I think that's what they're trying to stop. One potential pathway for the government to hamper Musk is the Interagency Committee on the Foreign Investment in the United States, so the U.S. Department of Treasury, et cetera, et cetera. Let me see here. So they're citing sort of this committee that is used to monitor foreign investments. Of course, these are all just like sort of loopholes to get their fingers in the deal and to stop it, I think, and, stuff like that. Is that true of what they really are concerned about? No, again, so. If Elon gets a girlfriend without tattoos, the man caves will empty. What does that even? I don't know what that means. But if you look at Elon's girl history, it's not very encouraging. Okay, he dated Grimes, right? And just look at Grimes, right? Just go to the Lex Friedman interview with Grimes. She's like a techno-communist, transhumanist Satanist. Like, definitely not a trustworthy individual ideologically speaking. In her vision of the future is very dystopic. By the way, if you ever want to see what the elite think, go watch some Lex Friedman interviews, and you'll see what the there's an eclectic mix. I think he even interviewed the CEO of Pfizer, Burla, whatever his name is. You know, he interviews a lot of these establishment globalist types, and it's kind of like watching like an NPR interview. Of course, Lex Friedman, totally. I honestly think he's just super naive, and just a pawn. Like, not even like bought in, like he's not like consciously like a bad guy or anything. I think he's honestly just like super naive and like too much of a nerd to recognize evil in front of him. So he's a useful pawn for the establishment. Anyways, I don't know why I'm talking about Lex Friedman. Let's move on here. Yeah, let's talk about the UFOs, huh? Man. UFOs. Okay, so this came out. From skies over Missouri to above the Pacific Ocean, commercial airline pilots have recently captured videos that depict unidentified aerial phenomena across the U.S. Okay, so this is something that's ramping up, and it has been ramping up for about 8 years. There's been a massive acceleration in UFO sightings, and they're called UAPs now. But it doesn't really matter what you call it. This is part of a massive agenda that's coming that I've been talking about for a long time. Let's check out this news article out of NBC.
Let's talk about those videos that are definitely going to spark some conversation at dinner tables or breakfast tables across the country.
Yeah, so check this out. Look closely here. Reportedly, this captured by commercial airline pilots appear to show so-called unidentified aerial phenomena. That's what NASA calls them, buzzing around the U.S. skies and coastlines.
All right, so of course we needed to call on NBC's Gotti Schwartz to check out what's going on. Hey, Gotti, morning.
Hey, guys, I know what a lot of people are thinking. They're seeing those videos and they're like, wait, what is that? But you got to know that we're talking to pilots, very trained pilots. And we just talked to a pilot. Before we tell you his story, you should know this guy is a former fighter pilot. He's a helicopter pilot, jet fighter instructor, has several degrees in things like meteorology. Oh, and before all this, he never really took UFOs seriously, but that all changed this month when he started to see lights that seemed to appear out of the Big Dipper and start flying in these strange patterns, all while tracking his plane.
Over the last several months, there's something unexplainable appearing in the night, from the skies over Missouri to above the Pacific Ocean.
It's not a satellite, it's not a meteor.
All baffling pilots mid-flight.
I don't know what the common denominator is, but it's always at the bottom of the Big Dipper.
Mark Holsey is a former F-18 fighter pilot. This August, he was piloting a private jet off the coast of Los Angeles when he says he saw as many as 7 mysterious objects appearing to fly thousands of feet above him. This is audio from that night alerting air traffic control.
Roger. Yeah, I don't know. You're not entering any military airspace or anything. I'm not sure.
The clip obtained by Ben Hansen, a researcher who has spoken to dozens of pilots of commercial flights that have recently had similar encounters.
So it seems like it might be getting more frequent?
It's either getting more frequent or it's getting noticed more.
Okay, there it is.
But while no one seems to know what they're seeing, Holsey is sure these fast-orbiting objects aren't satellites or any known military aircraft.
There's nothing that flies that high. So the odds of it being a military aircraft doing high G loads like that, it's impossible. It's completely impossible.
Does this phenomenon seem to be under intelligent control?
That's the only thing it could be. I mean, it's either artificial or biological.
It all comes on the heels of a congressional hearing earlier this year where intelligence officials testified for the first time ever that there were about 400 new sightings of unidentifiable objects, adding UAP reports are frequent and continuing.
No, I do not.
Okay, strange. And this latest wave of sightings from pilots could be just the beginning.
I bet my life on it. There are many more pilots and a lot more videos that are going to come out. I know this is going to happen. I know it is.
Gotti, you mentioned that there's a government report that is expected to come out. What do you think will be in that?
Yeah, that Pentagon report is expected to be given to Congress by the end of the month. It could either provide an explanation for the increasing number of sightings that we're seeing, or it could reveal some more information about new encounters. The question really is how much of it is going to be declassified. Meanwhile, Mark says he was told his report is going to be included in that review for Congress, and based on other pilots he's been talking to, he is convinced dozens of commercial pilots are going to be coming forward describing the same kind of lights flying in that racetrack-like pattern in the direction of the Big Dipper. The craziest part of his story, he says, is he saw a shooting star during all of this that was coming in that direction too. And he's like, oh my gosh, there's a shooting star happening as well. And then that shooting star joined in the pattern that those other lights were flying, something he's never seen before.
Whoa. Dozens of pilots can't be making this up.
I know. All right, Gotti.
So, you see the tone here with this has changed in the mainstream media. You see not only Congress, but the military now taking this situation very seriously, and it seems as though they want the public to know this, and that's really the key. When the mainstream media is shedding a positive and genuinely curious and serious light on this, it's an agenda. The media always has an agenda. So this, of course, phenomenon has been going on for a while, and what you're going to see in the future, I promise you, 100%, guys, 100%. Mark my words. This video, what is it? October 22nd, 2022. This is going to be a massive agenda. You're going to see within the next, it's hard to put a timeline on it. I mean, it could happen within a couple years or a couple months even. But it also could take like a decade. Eventually it's going to be shoved down your throats that, you know, there are these extraterrestrial types that helped create humanity, right? Helped, splice our DNA and make it so that we were highly evolved and helped accelerate our evolution and created us, right? There are creators, and we have to listen to everything they say. And, you know, you see this highly pushed throughout the past 2 decades, especially on TV, with TV shows like Ancient Aliens. You see it highly pushed on Gaia TV. This is an internet TV channel that is very popular amongst the New Agers. And the New Age community is highly involved in this too. There are some New Agers that understand the Psyop that's coming, but many that do not. And the whole point here, and Elon's going to play a role in this. The planet Mars will play a huge role in this. They'll start unveiling lost civilizations and stuff like that on Mars that are connected to this. And they're going to integrate all of these different timeline narratives into this one overarching theme of humanity essentially being subservient to an alien race, they're going to call it, that And that's what's responsible for these UAPs, right? These UAPs, these ETs have technology way beyond our imagination. Just look at these flying objects. They can float at the speed of light, and they can change direction, and they can bend gravity, and all of this. And it's going to be used to control you. And to create a new religion, a one world religion, where our creator are these things, right? These really, they're demonic forces, most likely, in my opinion. And that's what's coming, guys. That's what's coming, 100%. And they're going to say that we need to get rid of gas vehicles, of course. We need to stop eating meat. Because I do think this is one of those cards they're going to pull. Once we start rejecting the Great Reset en masse, and the elite understand fully that we're not going to accept it. So this is going to be their trump card that they pull. And they're going to say, look, well, you don't trust us? Well, how about you trust your creators that are far more advanced spiritually, technologically, mentally, everything. And if you don't listen to them, you're the biggest idiot ever, and they'll destroy the planet or something, right? And they're telling us, right? They're telling us that we need to accept the climate change agenda, the Great Reset. We need to give up our individual liberties. We need to give up private property. We need to give up, gas-powered cars, eating meat, owning firearms, free speech, owning anything. We need to give up our faith in God and in Christ. And we need to give up our souls to these people. Right, we need to reduce the population, stop producing, stop having families, and it's going to be done in a very articulate and creative way. It's not going to be as cheesy as it might sound at first sight. If the government, if Biden is up on TV, maybe not Biden, maybe it'll be somebody a little more impressive, but 10 years from now, if they have Pete Buttigieg, because I think they want to run him eventually, up on TV saying, look, ETs are real. We're in contact with them. And of course, at the same time, the average person will be seeing these things in the sky much, much more even than now. And they'll make themselves available and known a lot more so than they are now. They're just sort of starting this ramp up, this trend toward it. And a lot of people will just be like, oh my goodness, like, this is all real. We got to listen to these things that created us. And they'll be so scared and shocked and like in awe at the technology and all of this. And it's to create a new religion, guys. That's why they're demonizing Christianity and all that. Several recent UFO sightings reported by pilots over the Pacific Ocean. So we're seeing a huge increase in this. You can see here. China says they've been overwhelmed with rapidly mounting sightings of UFOs. October 2022. We had former Navy pilot Ryan Graves on his UFO encounters on Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's always talked about this, but now there's military, high-ranking officials, official investigations, and task forces on this topic. They're taking it very seriously. I listened to this whole interview today. The whole thing. The whole thing. With this guy, Ryan Graves. The tone in which this is being discussed is like I said, it's not a joke anymore to these people. And to be fair, so let's dissect this psyop a little more. Guys like Ryan Graves and other military personnel, and anybody really, not just military, civilians that see these things are seeing something. I'm not going to say they're not. That's stupid, because obviously these things exist. Like there are UFOs. Now, what they are, I don't know, but whatever their system and the media says they are, in the future, once these things are confirmed to be a certain thing, that is going to be the psyop, right? And that's the big question. What are they? This is a real phenomenon. What are they? And like us as dissidents, we can dissect it and try to come up with our own theories. And everybody in the chat right now, I'm not really sure. I'm not looking at the chat. I'm sure everyone has their theories on what these things are that people see. That people have been seeing for a while. This is this talk of Project Bluebeam that I've talked about. That even von Braun himself, who was the head honcho at NASA, who was brought over to America to head NASA and send us to the moon from Nazi Germany in Project Paperclip. That's declassified, absolutely confirmed information. He said on his deathbed to some colleagues that, this Project Bluebeam psyop was coming, where they'd create basically holograms in the sky depicting UFOs or whatever, and say it was aliens, and that would be a great deception to trick humanity into doing whatever the elite want. All right. Man. So, this guy, Ryan Graves, we won't talk about that much more, but, these things are increasing on a rapid scale. And this is all very recent. So this could be something impending, like very, very soon. Numerous sightings of identified flying objects have been reported by dozens of pilots flying across the Pacific Ocean over the past 2 months, according to a UFO researcher. So this is something bubbling up. I'm telling you. Ben Hansen, a former FBI agent and a host of Discovery Plus. Oh, Discovery Plus, yeah. Oh, we can trust them. Show UFO Witness obtained new footage and air traffic control recordings that reveal baffled pilots struggling to describe their bizarre mid-air sightings. He compiled accounts of pilots from Southwest Airlines, Hawaiian Airlines, and others between August 6th and September 23rd in one captivating account. A former military pilot reported seeing multiple aircraft flying above him. We've got a few aircraft to our north, blah, 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 he goes on to say. Yeah, so, guys, there's a reason this is being let out. There's a reason why the military is talking about the media. And there's a reason why these sightings are increasing, okay? Anyways, let's talk about Jordan Gray. Now, if you want to see the video of this, be warned. I'm not going to show it here because it's literally a naked trans person, right? It's I mean, like butt naked, like literally like pornographic, right? Up on stage, and this is live on Channel 4. So this is a person, I guess this person's a singer, I don't know, Jordan Gray, comedian. Jordan Gray, praised for iconic naked Friday Night Live performance. This trans individual performed live on stage on Channel 4 in the UK last night and stripped butt naked. You could see his private parts in front of the camera, everything. Started playing the keyboard with his private parts, and it's being praised. It's being praised. I mean, it's being praised in the media like it's it's the bravest, most amazing thing. If you want to see it, I mean, I would say like probably you shouldn't want to see it, but if you do, I mean, you know, curiosity, right? It killed the cat though. Maybe you shouldn't, but it's on my Twitter feed. I retweeted it. It's disgusting. There's a lot of debauchery on that Twitter feed, unfortunately, because, you know, that's just what's going on in the world. But you can check my Twitter, and you can see. But yeah, they're praising it as the most amazing thing. It's America's highest value now. Transgenderism. It's you know, it used to be, you know, the 10 Commandments or whatever. It used to be Christianity and virtue and maybe the Constitution, right? You can name other things. The writings of John Locke, the Federalist Papers, you know, Pilgrim's Progress. You know, these used to be some of the, you know, just the entire New Testament of the Bible, right? These used to be the cornerstones of our morality and, you know, what we strived for, right? But now, it's Jordan Gray. It's Jordan Gray. It's homosexuality and transgenderism. That's our highest value now. So, I mean, hey, you know, to each their own, I guess. You know, it's like it's just crazy. It's like, is this really what? I don't know. Channel 4 aired a one-off return special of the popular 80s comedy series on Friday as part of the channel's 40th anniversary celebrations. The special was hosted by comedian Ben Elton and welcomed veterans and rising stars to the comedy world to the stage. Gray, who competed on The Voice back in 2016, took to the Friday Night Live stage wearing a bright pink suit to perform a comedic song about her experience as a trans woman. I mean, what a hero, right? Getting butt naked on live TV. Just heroic. She quipped, she's more than just a female Russell Brand, and that she hasn't had a Yorkie bar in 5 years, garnering laughs from the audience. At the end of her rousing song, Gray shouted that the best thing about live TV is that she can do stupid stuff like this. She leapt up from the keyboard and proceeded to strip completely naked to applause from the Friday Night Live crowd. People online were absolutely amazed by Jordan's iconic performance. Iconic. Oh, she's an iconic hero for stripping butt naked. Such talent. Which was hailed as the TV moment of the year. You can't make this stuff up, guys. Honestly, maybe you should just watch this. Go to my Twitter feed and watch this, really. Because this is being upheld by the media. Every single article I read about this, as the best thing to ever happen in 2022, literally. It's disgusting. It's sickening. It's gross. And it's on live TV. It's so disrespectful to the audience. Jason Isaacs, who played Lucius Malfoy in the Harry Potter film franchise, praised Gray's brilliant performance on Twitter, and even suggested the comedian should be the next prime minister. Like, it used to be like we praised like our veterans in World War II when they came home from the war and winning it. Now it's this. It's a sick society. It's really, really bad. It really is. It's, I mean, Sodom and Gomorrah is soon. We're really in a lot of trouble. We're really, honestly, pray for these people. Pray for our enemies. Pray for our enemies. Pray for Jason Isaacs. Pray for Jordan Gray. Pray for all the media pundits and idiots praising this as the best thing ever. Debauchery. Just utter debauchery on live TV. I mean, it's something I could... There's no way I could show it on YouTube. It is outright. It's not blurred. You can see everything. Fake boobs, genitals, everything. Everything. Just butt naked dude. Literally. It's just like, it's live TV, you guys. Channel 4. It is being praised as amazing. It's just like, what? It's like, what world? This is a crazy, crazy world. We are degenerating. It's de-evolution. It's... I mean, all the Twitter comments. It's endless. Praising from the celebrities, from the media people. Yeah, that's great. It's amazing. It's just the most brave thing. It's so brave. So brave. Flashing the audience. So brave. Of course, there was a wave of anti-trans backlash to Jordan Gray's Friday Night Live performance. Anti-trans backlash. What if some dude... What if I got up on stage on live TV and just stripped butt naked? What if I did that? Right? I don't think people people pissed off about that wouldn't be like anti-male. It's the debauchery that's the problem. It's, you know, I mean, it's all just problematic, right? It's very problematic. After seeing the reaction to her appearance on the show, Gray tweeted that she was grateful to Channel 4 for allowing her to make comedy history on Friday. Man, it really is sick. It's just crazy. These people, what do we do, guys? What do we do? Oh no. Are you guys talking about Jeff C in the chat? I see Lee saying I'm done debating his death. Ugh. Naked press equals hero. Yeah, right. No. I would never do that to you guys. So, never. Never. Did she get heckled? I don't think so, no. No, it's just straight up. I mean, it really is. It really is utter debauchery. It's just crazy. And here we go, just further into the debauchery. We have to talk about this because a lot of people don't understand this is going on. You know, they go to work. They don't have time to, like, read the news. So, of course, that was on live TV. But, you know, that was the UK at the same time, which they're a little more even the right-wingers in the UK are pretty culturally liberal and think that's funny, you know. You know, they're very sex positive in the UK, right? Here in America, we have a little more of that, little more of the socially conservative mindset on things like that, right? It's mainly because I think of the you know, the Pilgrim founding of America, and like the Protestant, although English has Protestantism too, but I mean, like, you know, American Puritanism. It's a little more like, don't get naked on TV, right? Don't get naked on TV. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just an ignorant American. Like, I don't think that, but it would still be praised here. You know, it's the same thing. It really is. There'd be a little more of a backlash, but it's still the same. Horrific moment. Female high school volleyball player suffers serious head injury after transgender girl in rival team lobbed a 70-mile-per-hour ball at her head and struck her. So this is actually really sad. And this is what happens when you let biological males, whatever, compete in female sports. So check out this outlandishly ridiculous clip where, I mean, this dude, right, just serves the ball to this girl's face and, like, knocks her out, and she sustained head and neck injuries. It's crazy. So yeah, honestly, like, I just can't believe we're having these debates. Like, yeah, no, dudes aren't on the same level as women when it comes to physicality and female sports. This is what happens when girls get hurt. You know, it's just pretty obvious, right? If you get a dude, you know, playing dress up and going on the volleyball court with all these chicks, and then serving the ball, or who's spiking the ball in some chick's face, she's going to get hurt. And this is what happened, and now this girl's hurt. And this is disgusting. This is why people need to speak out against this. Stop being afraid of being called transphobic or whatever. I know that's like the religion now. Like, we uphold homosexuality and transgenderism. Like, that is the highest value in America now. It's not even diversity. It's just that. It's really just that. It's like, it's like they're like the priest class now. Like, it's like pro-vax doctors and transgender people. You know, we might as well just build them statues and start worshiping, right? Start getting on our knees and, like, saying prayers to the, you know, the Baphomet, the literal trans Baphomet. Yeah, so, I mean, there's multiple videos of this, and it's actually pretty disturbing. In fact, it's actually really disturbing, like, truly. I mean, he just spikes it right in her face. It's very reminiscent of this, right? Remember Leah Thomas? Absolutely crushing in NCAA swimming. This is a dude. And I don't know, man. do I really have to go over this? Men have a different genetic code. It's XY, and women have XX. From what I think that's the way it goes. So it's literally a genetic phenomenon. Men have higher bone density, more muscle mass. They're larger in stature. So even if you have a guy on estrogen, dressed up in women's clothes with a wig and makeup, they're going to be, on average, much, much stronger than all of the girls. I mean, these people have penises, okay? And they're spiking volleyballs in the chicks' faces, just knocking them out. A 70-mile-per-hour ball, right in the face, knocked out. Head, neck injury, hospital, everything. I mean, this is crazy. Footage of a North Carolina girls' high school volleyball match has emerged in which a player suffered a serious injury after a transgender girl spiked a ball at her face, striking her in the head. The physical injuries suffered by the female student athlete were to her head and neck. It's estimated that the volleyball was thrown at 70 miles per hour, and it was spiked, slammed, crushed at 70 miles per hour, and was described as abnormally fast by one bystander. Neither player has been identified. The incident has since had far-reaching implications for how the game is played in the state after news spread how the offending shot had been played by a biological male. The female player is still suffering from long-term concussion symptoms, including problems with her vision, and has not yet been cleared to play. That this could affect her later in life too. It's well known now, concussions. It can cause real problems. I mean, neck injuries too. I mean, this is really, really sad. We have to sacrifice. This is her injury. Is a sacrificial lamb on the altar of woke. Do y'all realize that? If it wasn't for woke, if it wasn't for the woke cancer, this wouldn't have happened. Her concussion and neck injury, this high school girl on the volleyball team, is a sacrificial lamb on the altar of woke. I hope you're happy. Leftists, I hope you're happy. The Cherokee County School Board has subsequently voted 5-1 to forfeit all matches for its school's women volleyball teams against Highland Schools, who the unnamed transgender player plays for. I mean, that's the other thing. It ruined the whole season. Look at that. So they're so afraid to kick her off the team, from what I understand here. They're so afraid to kick her off the team that they voted 5-1 to forfeit all the matches involving that team in the future. Just kick her off the team. Him, whatever. So ridiculous. Just think about that. Is that what's going on? It's cowards. Such cowards. Vote these people out. Vote these people out. This is why local elections are important. Like, I know some people in the chat, like, I don't vote. Well, okay. Like, really? You're going to just let these people do this to, at least try, Try to get these people out of there. If someone good's running, if not, run yourself. School board, things like this. The board appeared to dance around the controversial subject of trans people playing sports for the teams whose sex they were not born into. Indeed, the board did not refer to any player's sexuality, but instead cited concerns over safety. The county will not participate in any volleyball games, varsity or junior varsity, against Highland due to the safety concerns. Yeah. So now they're just making this team forfeit every match in the future, like, because they're too afraid to just say, "Hey, this dude can't play on the team." That is such cowardice. These people are just so pathetic. There's only one thing worse than evil. It's cowardice. Yeah. All right. TikTok influencer meets with President Biden to discuss transgenderism. So I believe this is happening tomorrow. This is an individual named Dylan Mulvaney. You might have heard of him, her, whatever. It's funny because you're supposed to call him her, but his name is Dylan. It's just, like, they didn't even change their name. This person. So yes, the interview hosted by Now This News will reportedly premiere Sunday night along with other segments from the presidential forum with Joe Biden. Yes, while inflation is destroying your wallet, while the southern border is just wide open, while they're shipping in illegals into the country and destroying this nation, while the energy grid collapses, while, World War III is literally about to break out in Eastern Europe. While our tax dollars are being siphoned to fund that. What's important to Joe Biden? Well, I guess him meeting with this cartoon character, right? This cartoon character. Let's see. Dylan Mulvaney. Meet Dylan Mulvaney, the person who is going to meet with the President of the United States tomorrow, or already has, but it's going to air tomorrow. Where is it? Here we go.
This video is my bestie Dylan and Dylan only. I have a small genderless fashion brand and I make these pants, and girly, you would look so good in them. I'm obsessed with you.
Wait a minute. This isn't even, hold on. There was another video that I wanted to see on here. Here we go.
It's day 222 of being a girl. I'm in Washington, D.C., and I'm going to the White House to speak to the President of the United States! You know that phrase, I fear I may have girl bossed too close to the sun? Well, that's how I feel today, because I get to sit down with Joe Biden and Now This News, and I get to ask him a few questions surrounding trans issues in the United States, and talk to him about my transness, and I really just want to represent my community the best that I can. And you know what? As silly as I am on here, I'm ready to step up and show that trans people, we're not going anywhere. And that trans kids, they deserve a fighting chance to be their true selves. Okay? Oh my god, I'm running late. Let's go! And y'all are obviously...
Honestly, like, ask yourself, if you're watching this and you're like, oh, isn't that nice? Joe Biden meeting with Dylan Mulvaney, this transgender person I've never heard of. What's more important? Dylan Mulvaney advocating for 0.001% of the population, an obscure, very strange portion of the population, who they should be allowed to do what they want to do, whatever. That's fine. It's cool. We accept them as they are. Should Joe Biden be worrying about Dylan Mulvaney, this attention seeker on TikTok? Or should Joe Biden be focusing on lowering gas prices, fixing inflation, boosting the economy, creating jobs, securing the southern border, things like that. Maybe stopping World War III. Maybe that might be a good idea. Trying to engage in peace talks with our enemies. Negotiations, deals, things like that. Traveling. Or do you care more about Dylan Mulvaney? a TikTok star that dresses like a clown and goes around literally like it's like a cartoon version of what a woman's supposed to be, right? Yeah, whatever. You know, have it your way. You know, I guess appeasing this person. It's just, I mean, he is kind of funny. Like, just kind of funny. Funny looking and just goofy. I'm not, it's a, you know, it's a show. I'll admit, it's a show. But it's just, maybe we should focus more on like fixing the country. I don't know. Like, call me crazy. I don't know. Maybe I just had too much coffee, guys, and you know, maybe this is more important than fixing inflation. You know, maybe this is more important than stopping World War III. You know, nukes aren't so bad, right? Nukes aren't so bad. $6 gas isn't so bad. Owning nothing and being happy is fine, right? Checking out the chat. What's up, dudes? So much going on in the chat. What's up, everyone? Much love, much love. So yeah, let's talk about this. The good thing about this situation, right, is that it will destruct and fall in on itself. So, you know, look at this flag. This is you know, at least Microsoft is presenting this as potentially the new flag to support the LGBT WXYZ whatever PX LMNOP community. Because there's a flag, right? If you look it up, I think it changes like once a week. That incorporates all the marginalized groups in the world into one flag. So you'll see like a triangle. Like every color of the rainbow in all of this, like a brown circle, people of color, brown bodies, indigenous bodies, LGBT, whatever, disabled, everything, right? But there's always an additional group that comes in every time a new flag comes out with an additional stripe or whatever and says, well, what about us? You got to put us on there. And then they'll add something else, like another shape or another color or stripe or something to appease this group. And then eventually a week goes by and another group nobody's thought of yet comes along and says, you know, what about us? So... yeah, eventually it's just a black hole you can see here. So the left will eat itself, you know. It will spiral into oblivion. It's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out, you know. But yeah, it's only a matter of time before this is literally the actual flag. Anyways. That was shared by Microsoft's official Twitter account, by the way. But, you know, none of this matters. None of this matters because in the end, nuclear war is what will get us through, right? Good old nuclear war. they're claiming that Putin already attempted to detonate a nuke, and it was stopped by sabotage. Of course, who knows if this is real, right? The war propaganda. The first casualty of war is the truth. That's the one thing you need to know about war. So everything that comes out in the media about a war, propping up one side or the other, is likely, well, at least there's a good chance it's totally made up, right? Psych war. You can see here, a Moscow insider has claimed that Russian President Vladimir Putin recently attempted to detonate a nuclear weapon, but that his efforts were sabotaged by the top brass at the Kremlin. Right. The report published at the Mirror also says unspecified technical issues could account for the failure of the Russian nukes in recent weeks. So they're trying to say he tried to light off a nuke, right? In Ukraine, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. But, I mean, the fact that they're even putting this out, whether or not it's even real, is very disconcerting. You know, it's sort of pointing toward this agenda to that I think is impending. I really do. I do think that you're going to see the narrative of a nuke being dropped. Does that mean an actual nuke was dropped? I don't know. But I think that's going to be a news story that we're going to have to contend with, right? In the very near future, I think they're going to say Putin dropped a nuke. Maybe he will drop. I mean, maybe it'll be real. I don't know. But it very well could not be. It could be literally staged. But I do think this is like seriously going to happen. Like this is seriously going to be a narrative very, very soon. And they're testing the waters by putting out a story like this. So this is originally published in the Mirror, and it's coming from their alleged sources, right? You know, obviously take it with a grain of salt, but you know, just the fact that that's like a story, like oh, Putin just tried to light off a nuke, and then he was stopped. Wow. And then we have this, and this is where it gets really crazy. Mysterious GPS disruption spread in Texas near Fort Hood. GPS interference in Texas has spread from the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area to now east and west regions of Waco, Texas. So there's this massive GPS interference happening, which is very strange, right? GPS interference is being reported around the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area airports, according to the Federal Aviation Administration. The first reports of signal degradation occurred about 24 hours ago. Significant GPS interference being reported by pilots in the Dallas area. Aircraft being rerouted, etc. So it's jamming up the planes and everything. The runway at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport has been closed after aviation authorities said GPS signals aren't reliable, so they're being scrambled and not working. The FAA also said it was investigating GPS signal degradation, blah, 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 in the metro area and looking closely to see if this could be due to possible jamming of the global positioning system. So very strange. Is this, I don't know, is this prepping for some sort of like attack or EMP or something? What I do see happening more likely in the U.S. is cyber attacks and, power grid outages blamed on Russia. EMP even maybe. I don't think like an actual nuke's going to drop in the U.S. or anything. But I do think, I mean, it's possible, I guess. But things like this allude to this preparation for some sort of massive alleged attack, right? Because what would you do if you were going to attack, like drop an EMP or something? You take out the GPS first so it couldn't be traced before dropping it, before attacking, right? high-resolution map of GPS interference around Dallas-Fort Worth. From what I understand, there's a lot of, military facilities and establishments in this area too. Just very weird, right? I don't know what this exactly is going to lead to, but it's just something that piqued my interest in relation to all this. We shared in the Telegram group. If you haven't joined that yet, you can. It's t.me/resisting the reset. Just type in resisting the reset in the search bar of Telegram. You'll find it. Telegram is really fun. SpaceX launched a rocket today. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. Yeah. So, yeah, I do think this is something that's just like super impending. And then you have here good old Zelensky. He met with Goldman Sachs to ask for help counteracting misinformation, begging for more money. This guy, the balls on this guy. He's going to the bankers, right? Goldman Sachs, right? It's something like, it's just damn near poetic that is happening like that, right? You would expect nothing less from Zelensky. This is just another sign that he's an establishment hack. Goldman Sachs is the same one that deleted Ye's account for speaking his mind, right? That's all. Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky met with the leaders of the U.S. investment company Goldman Sachs on Thursday to ask for more money and to plea for help with counteracting misinformation derailing his agenda. Oh, poor Zelensky. Misinformation. Goldman Sachs executive Vice President John Rogers and co-head of the Office of Applied Innovation and President of Global Affairs Jared Cohen participated in the discussion. According to the pro-Ukraine Telegram outlet Ukraine Now, Zelensky met with the representatives to discuss the possibilities of attracting investments for the needs of Ukraine. He's hat in hand begging for money just everywhere. I'm pretty sure he was seen like in the west coast of the peninsula of Florida and Fort Myers asking the residents after the flood of Hurricane Ian, hat in hand asking them for donations to help support Ukraine as their homes were destroyed, and they're like on the roof like waiting for aid and food from the Florida government. Yeah, he's a leech, this guy. He's like the guy in the corner always asking for like a cigarette, or like, hey, you got like 50 cents, you got $5. You spare Lucy, That's Zelensky, hat in hand, just going everywhere. Now he's going to the bankers, directly to the source. That's right, the wartime leader had time to negotiate funding for combating information, just like the article you're currently reading, instead of raising money for his troops fighting the nuclear superpower that invaded their country. Yeah, so he's trying to raise this money for cyber defense. Is that a telltale of where this is heading? Cyber attacks, EMPs, grid down. This is what Klaus Schwab warned about. Just look at what these globalists say, right? What would be worse than a COVID-19 pandemic, a cyber attack with a grid outage worldwide, or a massive internet outage worldwide, or countrywide in a massive region or whatever. Taking out infrastructure that could take months to rebuild or put back online, that is in the cards. Yeah, check this out. Check this out, right? InfoWars. No, not InfoWars. Where is it? Well, the point is, they're talking about holograms in the sky now. This is another thing they're talking about. Especially I just read an article where I think it was in China that they're rolling out currently, like the night sky in China is going to be filled with holograms of advertisements for Coca-Cola and stuff like that. You know, this is technology they're going to make public. They already have, really, but it's going to be much more prevalent. It's dystopian. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing that in LA and New York soon too. Advertisements in the night sky instead of the stars. You gotta look at an ad for, you know, transgender story hour this weekend or something. So, yeah, hat in hand, begging to the banks. Begging to the banks. And then what else? Oh, he's begging Congress, too. Lawmakers could rush through another $50 billion in aid for Ukraine before a possible GOP-led Congress can block it. So before the election, Congress is trying to slam through another $50 billion of your hard-earned money that they take away from you via theft, via the federal income tax, to Ukraine to help start World War III. So that's what they're talking about. And yes, GOP fully involved. Republicans fully involved. Just you got to vote these scumbags out of the GOP, right? These scumbags voting for this. You have about a quarter of the GOP House that vote against this. Every single Democrat votes in favor of it. Every single one. There is an opportunity to co-opt at least a major part of the Republican Party in the Congress to stop this. So I would say go out and vote. You know, I believe in voting. I see y'all talking about Jeff C in the chat. He was actually, you know, he talked about how he voted too. You know, I mean, local elections are actually more important. You know, there is a lot of rigging, but you know, I that's just how I feel. You know, I think, you know, if there's an opportunity to possibly win, if you're in a swing district in a certain area, especially with school board, House representatives, state Senate and House, state even governor in some cases, you can get an anti-establishment person in there, and if they have a chance of winning, you know, go and vote. I would say that's just my opinion. You know, you can have your own opinion, but yeah, the trippy new trans flag. It's like being sucked into hell, right? That trans flag, being like sucked into a whirlwind of like oblivion, like a black hole of like a demonic force or something. Trippy. Oh man. Faith Farah about the trans thing. Bigger lung capacity, larger muscle and bone structures. That's right. Yeah, genetic males just have that, right? It's called genetics. Yeah. Yeah, volleyball player. Yeah, it's just crazy. And you know, it's funny. I saw this like infomercial once, It was a spoof. It was fake, and it was like a Babylon Bee. It wasn't actually Babylon Bee, but it was satire like Babylon Bee, where they had like almost like a fitness gurus like lifting and like showing off their body, like bodybuilders and stuff, saying like, how did I get this awesome body? It was one secret. And they would hold up like a fake like box of fake pills, and they said, and it was called genetics. It's like, how did I get this? Genetics. Like that, because it was like highlighting how genetics play a major role in, you know, especially like physical capability. But I mean, the male-female thing is just so obvious, right? Obviously, like, male genetics is going to give you major advantages that are just irreversible, right? Over a woman physically. I mean, it's just common sense, man. But people are afraid to speak the truth because they're cowards, right? They're cowards. They bow to the altar of woke and sacrifice reality because they don't want to be deemed transphobic. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Oh, John Canada, yeah. That was a long documentary that you sent me. You emailed me. I think that it's called the Europa, Fall of Europa, or just Europa, right? That documentary. Yeah, no, I know. There's a lot of interesting things with that. Yeah. IML says, press, China says they have already built multiple artificial moons to light up their sky, right? Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, I meant to cover that, actually. In fact, maybe we'll talk about that in my next stream. You know what? Like, tweet me or message me to remind me about that, because, and I'd like to have the articles in front of me and like prepare for it. But yeah, that's a thing. It's real. Yeah, they've created artificial moons in the sky, all kinds of stuff like that in China. I believe like they might have even like created like a fake sun too, or something. Like, I remember reading something like that. Like, and there's video of this. Like, it's like confirmed from what I understand. I don't know about the fake sun thing, but I heard something like that. Definitely fake moons, yes. Yeah, Europa, the last battle, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're not allowed to talk about that on YouTube, guys. Come on. Come on. Anyways. No, not this. Wait. Zelensky. Hat in hand, always, right? He's a beggar. Now, in the midst of all this, it's a racket, right? The whole Ukraine thing, foreign wars, this is a major racket. What's this? Amid Ukraine crisis, Lockheed Martin and Raytheon partnership for $309 million in a contract for javelins. So all the javelins that we gave, these are basically like bazookas, right? I mean, lack of a better term to simplify it for people, rocket launcher type things, military equipment, weapons to take out helicopters and stuff like that. all the javelins that we gave to the Ukrainian army to help fight the Russians are now being replaced by these lucrative contracts with Lockheed and Raytheon to supply the military for more. Yeah, they're raking in the dough. They're raking in the contracts. They're paying off the Congress, and we'll talk about that in a second. The Pentagon has awarded a Lockheed Martin Raytheon joint venture of $309 million in contracts for the Javelin program, funding a total of 1,300 anti-tank missiles that will backfill U.S. stocks that have been provided to the Ukrainian military, the companies announced today. In addition to the Javelin systems meant to replace those sent to Ukraine, the two contracts, a $238 million deal announced on Monday, May 6th, and a $71 million award from May 12th, also included orders for international customers, including Norway, Albania, Latvia, Thailand. The Lockheed Martin joint venture said in a statement. Most of this is for the U.S., so... And it's all replacing the stuff that we're sending to Ukraine. So it's basically effectively just like these contracts to fund the war in Ukraine, and they're making tons of money off of it. This is the military-industrial complex. Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, they buy off the politicians. Like right here out of the Business Insider, one of the nation's largest defense contractors just donated tens of thousands of dollars to lawmakers voting on the Ukraine defense legislation. So the same lawmakers and Congress people that vote whether or not we're going to fund World War III, fund the Ukraine war, are getting paid by the very defense contractors that are locking in sweetheart deals of hundreds of millions of dollars for the very votes that enable it, right? So this corruption, it's blatant conflict of interest. They're paying off these people that are, these Congress people that are voting for this. And of course they have the interest of having them vote pro-Ukraine war and giving billions of your taxpayer dollars to Ukraine. It's all a money-making scheme, guys. It's out of control. One of the nation's largest defense contractors spread more than $51,000 in contributions among members of Congress and partisan political committees in April, as lawmakers debated sending a new round of weapons and other military aid to Ukraine, according to a new filing with the Federal Election Commission. So even... it's just crazy. Yeah, I wonder why the Senate overwhelmingly passed the $40 billion package back in April to Ukraine. Maybe because they're getting paid off by Lockheed Martin and Raytheon. Yeah. One of the nation's largest defense contractors donated to nearly 150 members of Congress as they debated Ukraine military aid. So here's another one. A total of $257,000 in April, donating to the campaigns of members of Congress, a gubernatorial campaign, and this consisted of both Republicans and Democrats. Lockheed Martin. Yeah. And they're raking in the bucks. 20 members of Congress personally invest in top weapons contractors that'll profit from the just passed $40 billion Ukraine aid package. So a lot of these articles are from May this year. This is all the money being made, though. This is just examples of it. And you better believe that's why they're trying to pass through another $50 billion in aid to Ukraine now. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, obviously. These people are invested in these companies. They're getting paid by them. And these companies are getting paid with the contracts, the new contracts as a result of the war in Ukraine and us getting involved. Even people like AOC that are supposed to be the left-wing anti-war activists, so for, fighting climate change, which, by the way, climate change is probably not affected in a good way when nukes go off. Let's but she's still getting heckled. Here's another video of her getting heckled by former supporters that are starting to call her out on her BS. I talked about this in my previous stream, but now it's still happening. AOC Town Hall Forum descends into chaos as protesters take over. I'm not going to play the video. It's just another one of these videos, But the narrative around her, I feel like it's starting to fall apart a little bit. The fact that she's voting pro-war, it really does conflict with a major part of like the I don't even want to call it anti-establishment left. Let's just call it the far left, right? Because the establishment Democrat types, their constituents, which I almost find it hard to believe the people even exist, but apparently they do. Their constituents don't care about, going to war. They're like, yeah, let's vote for war. The typical Democrat supporter, somebody who supports, like Nancy Pelosi, for instance, like in an honest way, or Joe Biden in an honest way, they are pro-war. I mean, they're blatantly pro-war. But a lot of the AOC supporters, a lot of them aren't necessarily pro-war, but they're not really anti-war either. They're more like, aren't we supposed to not believe in war? I don't know. Because they do what they're told, right? They're like young goldfish, right? And they're just kind of like, they're more focused on domestic issues, diversity, and inclusion, and the Green New Deal, and stuff like that. And hating on, white Christian men, whatever. Getting Dylan Mulvaney to do an interview at the White House. Oh, it's so game-changing. Oh, Jordan Gray stripping butt naked live on Channel 4. This is what we care about. Like, they just don't know about the atrocities of war enough. Like, they think as long as you put like the rainbow flag or the Microsoft like flag or whatever, the new Microsoft like LGBTWXYZ double whatever flag on the warhead that you shoot toward the civilian population of Russia or whatever, as long as you paint like a rainbow flag on it and maybe a picture of George Floyd or something, then that's okay, right? It's fine, right? As long as our nukes have George Floyd and Dylan Mulvaney, right? On painted on the side of the nuke, it's fine, as long as it's worth it. But some people are waking up, right? Some people are starting to wake up to AOC and her lies. She's voted pro-funding Ukraine, pro-war all year on every aid package bill. She's voted for it, just like the rest of the Democrats. So she's starting to get called out on it. But most of her supporters, she'll probably still get in come November again. I don't think she'll lose her election. I don't even know if she has any good contenders, to be honest. But if she got voted out, that'd be a surprise. Oh boy. All right. We're going to have to wrap it up. We'll have to talk about this the next one. There's a few things to talk about here. They're preparing scripts for the winter blackouts. They're already preparing scripts. So this is coming. This is all planned. Hope you're all ready. But we'll wrap it up for today. Yeah, man. Thank you everyone for joining. Again, give this video a good thumbs up. If you want to support my work, I do have Patreon, PayPal in the description below. If you want to join the Telegram group, there's that too. Resisting the Reset on Telegram, at Press Reset Earth on Twitter and Gab. And if you want to follow me, you definitely should follow me on BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble. Resisting the Reset on BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble. But yeah, we'll have to wrap it up for now because it's getting late. It's getting late, and I think I've been just going for like 3 hours. And there's enough info here to do a whole nother stream on, and it kind of does need its own stream, so we're gonna do it that way. And stay tuned the next few days. Anyways, guys, it's been Press. Keep your head up, stay real, and no fear.